Welcome back. We continue our coverage in Kingston, where a new restaurant uptown serving American comfort food with a southern twist has locals coming back for more. The Frogmore Tavern, located on North Front Street, is described as a gastropub establishment with a fun and warm atmosphere featuring local craft beers and signature dishes like Scotch eggs and chicken and waffles. The eatery opened in August and so far has been well received by patrons. Owner George Lewandowski took some time out of his busy schedule to talk with us about what makes the Frogmore Tavern stand out from other local restaurants.
Very little, actually. 2 years ago I became a partner at a restaurant down the block from here, and from there we decided to expand a little bit and opened up another restaurant here, so not a lot. My background is mostly manufacturing and managing places. Kingston happens to be a very nice city, especially uptown here where things are beginning to happen, and a number of years ago it wasn't as nice as it is today, but there seems to be an influx of different number of businesses, so people are coming in and visiting. I've heard it called Brooklyn North and all kinds of other what I consider positive terms, so that's why we chose Kingston. It was about a year and a half. We first started looking for places to rent. Unfortunately, we couldn't find a place we could call home, and this building became available for sale, so we looked at it twice, once at the beginning of the process and then later on again in the fall of last year. Excuse me, of 2013, being in January, I forgot. But anyway, we looked at it in the fall and we decided to pick up the building, and I think it was a very wise choice. It seems to be very well received by people from Kingston locally, and people from out of town also come in and enjoy our surroundings. Frogmore happens to be a dish, Frogmore stew. Our chef came up with it. Shortly after he came up with the name and we've accepted it, we started looking for images of frogs, so that's the two frogs that we have up on the roof. Also, we started looking a little bit deeper into Frogmore, and it happens to be a community on St. Helena's Island in South Carolina. A very lovely place. We visited that about 4 weeks ago, but that's where the name came from. The chef has been cooking for probably close to 30-something odd years. He's a self-taught chef. He happens to be our partner here as well. He comes up with very eclectic dishes from basically all over the world, and here we are meat-centric. So you have a lot of pork, beef, chicken dishes, and essentially our take on them. We also have seafood, obviously. So he cooks them. Everything is prepared here, fresh from scratch. We smoke our own meats, cure our own pastrami. The Reuben has become our signature sandwich, which is served on rye bread that we bake here with sauerkraut that we actually prepare here as well. Well, obviously Frogmore stew happens to be our signature dish, our namesake basically, so that's one of them. We do a very nice job of the Reuben sandwich that I mentioned. We also prepare the roast beef here ourselves, and what else is there? We have a very lovely brunch on Sundays, so there's a couple of really nice dishes. Froggy pudding happens to be our dessert. It's a really tasty one. It's basically a bread pudding served over a toffee sauce, so it's very nice. We try to get as many local ingredients as we possibly can. Obviously in the winter that's a little bit more difficult, especially when it comes to vegetables and so on, but we try to source them locally. We've done some business with Hudson Valley Harvest out of Tech Center. We try to use as many local companies as we possibly can. Well, unfortunately, I'm not the expert in craft beers, but I will tell you that we rotate our drafts on a regular basis. There's 12 of them. Recently, we had an event with Brooklyn Brewery. They came up and they brought in their Quadceratops along with their winter chocolate stout, which was quite tasty and very nicely received. So again, we try to bring in craft brews. We don't have what people refer to as common beers on tap. We feel that if you're going to come out to a tavern like our own, you'd like to get something that's slightly different than the norm. The specialty drinks rotate. In the summertime when we first opened, our signature drink was the swamp juice, or swamp water I should say, which was made of freshly juiced honeydew melon as well as cucumber juice, served with vodka and a couple of other items. It was quite nice. We're rotating those specialty cocktails, and every couple of days you find something new on the menu. Well, this is where my thanks come out to the Kingston community and basically the community at large. It has been very good. I feel that any restaurant that can open up and be as well received as we were in the 5 months that we've been open is very lucky. So I consider myself and the restaurant a very lucky place. I would say very positive for the most part. Obviously, there are some things that we still need to tweak. So the menu items that are not as well received as some of the other ones are slowly going to go away, and we're going to bring in new eclectic items and put on the menu again to venture into the unknown again. Not at this time, however, our sister restaurant, which is Duo at 50 John Street here in Kingston, we're planning a small expansion in a not too distant future. We have a banquet hall that we haven't opened up yet, and we're also planning to this summer open up our roof deck to our patrons. And there will be seating for about 70 to 80 people up there. We will be serving cocktails and probably lunch menu and some limited dinner items as well.
And now I'm starving. That's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Amy Greene. Tune in next week for another edition of Hudson Valley Week in Review. Good night.